HLBZ has been showing massive weakness. Let's go ahead and go over the potentials for the coming sessions. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by on this very windy Sunday. This is ARCa coming at you with an HLBZ technicals and raw price action thread of analysis. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, so we're looking at HLBZ on the 12-hour chart here, and this is the massive descending channel that we've been riding for I think 2 years now, actually. So and we did notice the breakout. We did call that, and we did meet the targets that we were looking for per the metrics of this descending or falling wedge, right? So we actually met it pretty close to that target. Now the downside here is, I know that there's a lot of negative catalyst regarding HLBZ and just all this massive dilution and all that stuff. I get it. Remember that I don't practice any fundamental metrics, but what I could notice here is that upon the breakout of a descending channel like this one here, we actually would need essentially a validation of the newly converted resistance into support. So in this case, you can see that we broke out right all the way to the top side. It met our upside target, and we haven't actually retraced to test this bottom line support. Okay, so if we're talking about just trading rules, then yeah, we would actually need to come back potentially all the way to about 1361 in order for us to validate that. And the very interesting thing here is that the following candle here, I'm talking about the next 12-hour iteration. Let me just go ahead and show you what that possibility is. Okay, let's just zoom in a little bit, and you can see that the cursor snaps to the next candle or the previous candle as we move forward, right? So if we were to imply that we were to continue our downside capitulation on the following iteration right over here on the next snap, if we actually just meet our cursor right to the support of this descending channel, which would be that validation, right? Let's go ahead and just meet it right down there. And please take a look at the confluence between the support channel here and this candle high. Okay, so that would be the candle high of, you can see it right up here. Okay, so let's hover over the candle and see what it says. So you can see that says 1340, right? The important thing is that 1340 wick high is essentially the gap bottom of this 12-hour iteration here. Okay, so what we're looking at is a potential drop to all the way to this point, where is absolutely two areas of support. Okay, so that doesn't mean that we're just going to go to the moon from here. In fact, this could actually experience a bounce, right? And that bounce does have a few areas of resistance, particular to the 17-cent area, which is this candle high right over here, okay, from January 12th, 2023. Okay, so there could be that area to where we find a type of rejection, right? And then we come back and attempt to test this right here. But the negative sentiment behind HLBZ could essentially continue this to the downside. Okay, so our absolute lowest level that we have right now is about 11 cents. But and I know that there are several short bias traders who are actually trading this, and if I had to say, I guess anything to them would essentially be, you're looking for this range of target, okay, anywhere between 1539 to about that lower level of 1310 or 1340, like we said, right? 1343, right around there. Okay, so yeah, that would be essentially the target that we would be looking for. Another way for us to see if there's any rhyming within that target is to take an inverse fib from the last 12-hour iteration that we have here, actually to the swing high of the overall range from the day. Okay, so meaning that you see these two candles here, this candle and this candle, you can see the dates down here. You can see that they're both part of the 27th. Okay, so the previous candle will obviously be the 26, 26, 25, 25, and so on. Okay, so very interesting thing here is that we can see that the 1.618 lands right at $14.63, smack in the middle of this support range that we're looking at. Okay, so this is absolutely a very important target to look at because the sentiment usually likes to take it here. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and draw a trend line right over here because this could be that area that we're looking for the short term time frame, of course. So let's go ahead and now move on to the next chart and see what we have. Okay, so this was the back test chart where we were able to see that we were going to make a pump to the upside of about 22.69% to the upside based on a volatility versus momentum back test throughout the entire trading history of HLBZ on the 8-hour chart. Well, the move resulted in about 200% to the upside. And now we've been retracing massively. Okay, so what the thing that I'm having you look at here is actually not the stats that we looked at before. It's in fact what volatility and momentum are doing right now. We have started a contraction phase, and we haven't moved outside of the critical volatility zone, but that's still okay. The reason why I'm saying this is because momentum, both of the 14-day and 3-day moving averages, K% and D%, are both pivoted on a nosedive towards that downside. Okay, so, and I have back-tested stochastic momentum in particular in several tickers throughout time, and I have gotten a read of about 75 to 91% in accuracy in guessing the asset's direction. Okay, so, I mean, this is, pretty gnarly, for lack of better words. This is still suggesting a massive downside on the 8-hour chart. Let's go ahead and now move on to the last part of the analysis, which would be the divergence chart. Okay, so divergence is the opposition of price action versus momentum, and in this case, momentum represented by RSI, relative strength index. What we're looking at here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drives. I mean, 6 total drives of hidden bearish divergence. And you can see on the chart right over here for your convenience, I can blow it up just a little bit bigger so you can see exactly what's happening. Momentum making a series of higher highs and price action making a series of lower highs. Okay, so this divergence is essentially what has stacked up over time and essentially played out at that top of our target that we talked about several days ago. Okay, so a very important thing to notice here is that the 12-hour RSI purple line is remember that's your signal line, and your pink line is the 14-day simple moving average. Very important thing to notice is that the RSI signal is at a nosedive here and suggesting a continuation to the downside. So now let's go ahead and open up the last part of the analysis, which would be a multipane here, so that we can gauge a true bias for the coming sessions. Okay, just like always, let's go ahead and start off with the immediate short-term 30-minute, and you can see that there is a little bit of recovery here for the 30-minute, but please remember that this lives out fairly fast since it is just a 30-minute time frame, very small. Okay, so we can actually see a retracement from that 14-day simple moving average, and not only that is that we would essentially enter the gravitational zone of the bear weakness percentile, and that gravitational zone would serve as a resistance to come back to the downside, and as well as the 14-day simple moving average. So two forms of heavy resistance here can confirm a continuation to the downside, not to mention that we recently crossed below the 14-day simple moving average, which is already a bad sign. Currently sitting in the grips of the bear strength percentile, being this zone right down here. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on to the 4-hour chart. And this is in the 4-hour time frame, we are actually still on a nosedive as well. And as you can see, we have now entered the gravitational zone of the bear weakness percentile, which now suggests a continuation to the downside as well. Fresh cross of the RSI signal below the 14-day simple moving average, and the 14-day simple moving average suggesting a downside as well. Okay, please take a look at the 8-hour chart. The 8-hour RSI is also suggesting a massive downside continuation, and it looks like the 14-day simple is starting to kind of pivot and follow that suggestion from the RSI signal as well. The daily chart is still suggesting some sideways trading, a little bit of consolidation here, and I wouldn't put too much weight onto this because if you just move on to the next time frame, here would be the 3-day, right? Let's just see the bi-daily. Okay, so yeah, the 3-day would essentially continue that downside confirmation. And this is very important because the pivot is pretty significant. Okay, and also please notice that the 5-day should be similar to that, and it is. Okay, so the 5-day is suggesting a downside continuation, and also we're right in that gravitational zone. I'm talking about absolutely in the grips of that gravitational zone, suggesting a continuation to the downside. Okay, so this is very much in line to what I'm talking about here. Okay, so I am absolutely looking over the span of about the next 2, maybe 3 sessions, if it doesn't absolutely capitulate in one shot, because this was a huge this candle here is just like it's releasing pressure, and it's absolutely showing a continuation of weakness and showing a continuation of short bias traders pressuring it down. The overall take profit that I'm looking at would essentially be at the top side of a gap. Remember, please, 15. I think I said, okay, 1539 to the lowest area being the bottom gap of about 1345. Very likely we find a bounce from the gap first, come back up, test a relevant area of resistance being the top side of this candle at about 1750 before eventually reaching that 1.618 at about 1466, if not a wick right down into that 1345. Okay, so this is essentially just weakness being poured onto HLBZ right now. You guys, please be very careful with your longs on this. If you are in profit right now, I would, as not a financial advisor, I would probably remove risk off the table or take profits soon. Okay, you guys, so definitely know that I'm not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy or sell any assets whatsoever. I need you to do your own due diligence and everything will be just fine. Okay, you guys? But please refer to the links in the description below if you would like to chart alongside me on TradingView software, because this is essentially what I use all the time, right? So if you are interested in looking at these charts and, you know, making similar drawings, you know, throughout the daily videos that we put out here, then please go ahead and refer to that affiliate link, as it would help my trading future out greatly. Okay, you guys, but with that said, I wish you well a very good day, actually, and the rest of your weekend. And I will catch you at the bell on Monday. Adios.